Welcome to the County Emergency Operations Center, and we haven't been here for something as significant as this since the fires of probably 2007, although we've used it many times, and it's nice to be here with some of our partners, especially from the city of San Diego, and with Mayor Kevin Faulconer. I want to thank our Emergency Services Director, Holly Crawford, who's sitting right here and have an eye on me as we go through all of this. But I want to thank you for hosting us here today. We've had a big week, as all of you know. That's kind of behind us, but we've got probably more coming. And as the ground gets wet, we face even different issues. In the unincorporated parts of the country, we experience numerous flooded areas and washed out roads and things of that sort. Homes and businesses have been damaged all over San Diego County and the cities and in the unincorporated area. If anyone had somehow missed the warnings, this series of storms should put us on notice that the El Niño and the concerns with El Niño are very real and are going to be with us through this rainy season. The theme here today is preparedness, and I'm proud to be standing here with Mayor Faulconer and to see that SDG&E is here with us also today, because we have no better private partner than we have in SDG&E when it comes to preparation and response for emergencies. A big part of public safety is ensuring that there's access to information and resources. On the technology side, I want to encourage everybody to download the free app, San Diego Emergency App. Please look that up. Get that on your phone or on your computer. The app is really a one-stop shop to prepare and to make it through and to recover. A lot of information there. New on the county technology side is the adverse weather map, which is available at readysandiego.org. And from that map, which is on the screen here, and you can blow that up so you can see in quite a detail what is covered. But we've added these red areas that we previously didn't have on the map. And those areas are those parts of the county that have been hit with wildfires or major fires over the last several years. They still haven't grown back. They're really areas that are, as we get a lot of rain, are a threat for flooding or for mudslides or landslides of various types. And we're keeping an eye on them, to say the least. The flood district map webcams are available on this. Precipitation radar warnings are being shown and updated in a very small time frame, so that you really get a comprehensive picture of what's going on in San Diego. There are warning boundaries for flash floods and severe thunderstorms, and the location, as I said, of the major wildfires are shown there, and we really are concerned about mudslides as we go forward. So when we're finished here today, Holly and members of her team will be happy to walk you through all of the features of the maps and the information that we have. Finally, I want to recognize the regional cooperation that's been taking place as we move forward through this El Niño, whether it's the sheriff, whether it's our local police, whether it's our local firefighters, whether it's the fire authority or Caltrans or school districts or any other public agency. Public safety is our number one goal, and we're all working together on that. Just as we're looking out for each other, we need the public. We need you to be looking out for one another and helping us. Today you're going to learn a lot more about just how to do that. And now I'd like to invite Mayor Kevin Faulconer to the microphone to share with us his perspectives.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you. Well, good afternoon, and thank you all for being here. You know, as Supervisor Roberts was just saying, the last storms last week, it was a team effort. the cities working together with the county. The rain and all of it that came along with it, and the flooding knows no boundaries. And it's absolutely important that we continue to do what we're doing, which is collaborate, sharing information, and first and foremost, keeping people safe. And I want to particularly start by thanking all of our first responders. Not the city and the county last week represents the best of the men and women that were out there to help us. And they were busy, as I think a lot of us know. Their quick work, and I mean very quick work, helped keep property damage to a minimum, but most importantly, it saved lives. And I particularly want to thank all of our public safety folks in the city, our police officers, our firefighters and lifeguards, and employees in our public works department and our stormwater departments. It was probably some of the busiest hours that they've faced in quite a long time. They worked around the clock, showing the dedication that they have to protecting our families across this region. The city, they responded to more than 500 storm-related service calls, and in addition, our firefighters and our lifeguards performed 67 water rescues over a 5-day period. 67 water rescues. They were indeed incredible, and the results, I think, speak for themselves. And of course, there were many crews throughout the city that responded to the results of falling trees, flooded, and of course, traffic issues. And I think it's appropriate that we're holding today's press conference here at the County Office of Emergency Services because of the cooperation and the coordination that is evident between all cities, and I mean all of the cities, and the County of San Diego. But it's also important to remind people that more storms are expected. We know that. And so today is about reminding, reinforcing, and probably the most important thing, planning and taking those steps to prepare. And there are plenty of resource tips. You're going to hear a lot of those today, available at the city and the county. And at the city, we have a web page dedicated to preparing for El Nino, and you can find that information at sandiego.gov/El Nino. Information on how you can pick up free sandbags at city fire stations, sign up for emergency alerts on your phone, as the supervisor was just saying, and tips, of course, for how you can prepare your family, your home for an emergency. So there's a lot of things that we can be doing right now as we look ahead to, obviously, we believe it's going to be a busy storm season coming to San Diego County. But I particularly want to thank a minute to all of you, all of our members of the media here for all of the work that you did last week. Throughout the storms, I know that numerous television stations and radio stations were informing viewers about the best number to call during storm-related issues. That number is 619-527-7500. Thank you for getting that number out as much as you did last week. And we urge all San Diegans to call that number if you see an emergency situation such as a fallen tree or flooding, non-emergency situations such as a fallen tree or flooding. Using that number is important because it reduces the amount of calls to the police and fire dispatch center. And when we're seeing the volume of calls that we have, using that non-emergency number was a great service. A few other things San Diegans can do that I would urge you to do. Probably some of them are common sense, but I think it helps to reiterate. First, please follow all instructions by our public safety personnel. Take your time, drive carefully, particularly in the rain and during some of the surges that we have. And I think you're probably going to hear this from the chief and from Chief Zimmerman and Chief Fennessy, but I want to reiterate it. Please do not drive around the barricades. They are there for a reason. And I think as we saw and appreciate all of the work that the media did last week, when you see some of that standing water and you're not sure how deep it is, do not drive around the barricades. They're there to help. They're there to protect you. And they're there to keep our roads safe and when we can reopen up traffic as soon as possible. So I just wanted to say it's not just obviously us here in the public agencies that can give that information. I want to thank San Diego Gas and Electric for providing the help as well. We're going to hear a little bit today about the Safely Out kits that SDG&E is making available to some of our most vulnerable residents. SDG&E has been a true partner in this, and we're going to continue to rely on each other's help as we face, obviously, new storms that will face our region here coming in the months ahead. Again, thank you for everybody working together. Again, I'll end where I began, which is to thank our emergency personnel, from our sheriff's department to our fire rescue, our police officers, our lifeguards. It was a real opportunity for our public safety personnel to shine, and they did it, working every hour of the day and overtime. We work together here in San Diego County. That's how we achieve success. It's a partnership we're going to continue to work on in the days, the weeks, and months ahead. And again, thank you to all of the members of the media for helping to get that message out and the number out as well. And with that, I'm happy to introduce Carolyn Wynn from who am I introducing? We're changing. We're going to introduce
Ron Roberts.
Ron Roberts. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Faulconer. We made a slight change, and Sheriff Bill Gore, whose deputies have been all over the county and have been our eyes and in our ears to some extent to help us to identify threatening spots, is going to be here to make a couple comments. Sheriff?
Thanks, Ron. Thank you all, and thanks again for being here today. It's so important for the job you do out there to get the word out to the people in this community to keep us all safe. I would like to add one thing, obviously, to this wonderful website up here and the non-emergency, the calls you have. You can also go to 211. Have your viewers go to 211 to get information, and it keeps them from calling the 911 numbers at the police department, the sheriff's department, and they can get their updates on what's going on in the county in that fashion. I think that's very helpful. To the extent you can follow the weather on some of your websites, your television, your radio stations, and to the extent possible, try to adjust your shifts maybe. Try to avoid rush hour traffic if you can in the heavy rain and thunderstorm times. I know not everybody can do that, but to the extent you can, I think that would be helpful. I think we saw that a little bit last week, some of the heavy downpours where the rush hours were a little bit lighter. So I think that's also helpful. Something to address from the county's perspective, the heavy rains also bring snow to our mountains, which is wonderful for us people who live basically in a desert down here to go up and see the snow in the mountains, but use common sense when you go up there. We saw it on the news, the traffic jams, people not prepared either with the change for their cars, the proper clothing. Make sure you have a full tank of gas, because I guarantee you some of those waits up there in the backcountry, up in the Laguna Mountains, are going to be 1 to 2 hours. You don't want to become a part of the problem. Be very aware of posted areas, private property. You're not to be on private property, snowboarding or whatever you're going to do up there. And you will be cited if you are in those areas. So just use good common sense. We want you to go up, enjoy the mountains, see the weather, enjoy it. So take those kids up to the mountains and let them play in the snow, but just use good common sense. We'll be working closely with the California Highway Patrol, who has primary enforcement of the roads in the backcountry, but you will be cited if you're not properly prepared and you don't have the right equipment. Lastly, again, I would like to thank all of the law enforcement and fire personnel for the great job they did in working together during this. It really was a team effort, and I think we minimized the damage to life and limb out there. And again, to talk about what the mayor emphasized, avoid moving water. It doesn't take much for an automobile. 6 inches of water in running water can take away a small car. 12 or 24 inches can take a big car. 6 inches can move an individual, a pedestrian. So use common sense. Don't drive around barricades. Don't drive through moving water, and stay away from those if you're a pedestrian. So I thank you very much for being here and helping us get the word out. And I'll turn it over now to Carolyn Wynn from San Diego Gas and Electric.
Well, thank you, Sheriff Gore. And thank you, Chairman Roberts, Mayor Faulconer, Police Chief Zimmerman, Chief Fennessy, and Sheriff Gore for inviting SDG&E to be with you here today. You know, last week's storm served as a reminder of just how important collaboration is between SDG&E and the city and county's first responders. You know, the storms really put our company's employees and the electric grid to the test. But I'm pleased to report that the system performed well during this first set of intense El Niño storms. For months now, we've been preparing for a variety of scenarios for El Niño. We've developed a robust operations plan that's tightly integrated with our Emergency Operations Center. We performed numerous inspections of our facilities, as well as purchase extra equipment that's now staged in our regional offices. We've also utilized the expertise of our meteorologists to provide valuable forecasts for our crews and the local agencies. You know, I know that electric and gas outages are never convenient, but sometimes they're unavoidable. So I'm here to urge San Diegans to be prepared, and that starts by first having a home emergency kit. Be prepared for the essentials during an outage. You know, the safety of our employees and our customers is the #1 priority at our company. And as we continue to think of ways to help our customers become more prepared and to work with first responders, we realize that there was a piece of the puzzle that was missing. We recognize that our most vulnerable customers, like the elderly or those with mobility issues, need some extra help to safely evacuate during an emergency. And to provide that extra help for residents who need it most, SDG&E has partnered with Citizen Voice to purchase 10,000 of these Safely Out kits. Within the kit, there's materials to be used if someone is homebound during an emergency like a flood or fire. And most importantly, the kit contains emergency contacts as well as a door hanger that allows first responders to know if there's someone inside who needs help, which is especially useful, again, during an evacuation. Distribution of these kits have already begun with our agency partners such as Elder Help and Meals on Wheels, and we're now partnering with the American Medical Response Company as well. You know, another way that we're helping to enhance the level of safety and preparedness in our region is I'm proud to announce that SDG&E is donating $70,000 to the San Diego Regional Fire Foundation for the purchase of 3 emergency generators to be used at the San Diego County disaster shelters. So with the shared vision of really promoting public safety, this donation was a natural fit for us, and we're proud of our long-term partnership with the San Diego Regional Fire Foundation. By working collaboratively with the city and the county and the first responders, we will all be better prepared for what the future storms have in store for us and for public good. So thank you again for having me, and I will be turning it back over to Chairman Roberts.
Thank you, Carolyn, and thank you for working with the Fire Foundation. We had put together a short list of things that might be helpful, and SDG&E once again stepped up to the plate. These are emergency generators that can be used anywhere in San Diego County. I mistakenly referred to them as chargers at one time, and I won't. They're generators, okay? We won't get into that. Next is, I can say, my chief of police, because I live in the city of San Diego, but Shelley Zimmerman, who's done such a great job. She's going to help us to understand why you shouldn't drive around the police telling you that it's flooded.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mayor Faulconer, Supervisor Roberts, and to everyone who's here today. And as you heard, public safety is a shared responsibility between all of us working together, and everyone does play a crucial role in order to make everything work. Just to give you a couple statistics, our communications center in the city of San Diego, we received more than 1,300 calls last Tuesday and Wednesday. And I would tell you, well, actually, what I should tell you is that we received 1,300 more calls last Tuesday and Wednesday than we did just the previous week. So that's 1,300 more calls, and that was just on those 2 days. And there's several things that you can do to help keep yourself safe and out of harm's way. And if you heard many people say already, the mayor, the county supervisor, is don't go around the barricades. Don't go around the yellow police caution tape. And let me tell you why. Not only is that your vehicle is going to stop, it's going to get flooded, the engine's going to flood, and your vehicle's not going to work, and you're going to hear from our fire chief here, Chief Fennessy, in a minute, about the number of rescues that went on to get people out of the vehicles. But this is the reality of what happened. So that after we got the people safely out of their vehicles, and when the water recedes, we still weren't able to open up the roadways. Why? Because now the roadways were blocked by cars that had stalled out. So in many cases, it was several hours later that we had to call numerous tow trucks to get those vehicles out of there. Otherwise, we could have opened the roads much sooner. So there's many reasons why not to drive around those barricades. And also, as many people found out this last storm, this last week, it seems like many people only know one way home, one way to work, one way to school. So now when the weather is nice again, is that this is a great time to go out, drive around your neighborhood, where you live, where you work, your school, and know alternate routes. So you might need to know at least one other route. Maybe you need to know 2 other routes. But it's a good time to learn where you live, where you work, where you play, where your kids go to school. And, keep in mind, I think everybody knows this, is that the rain, it really does limit visibility, and it increases very dramatically the time it takes to brake safely. As you saw, many cars hydroplaned and caused many accidents. And I would tell you, the main reason why the cars hydroplane is because simply people are just driving way too fast. You must leave several car lengths between the car in front of you. And simply just slow down, just take your time. And I will tell you, not only is it important to see the road and the cars in front of you, but it is equally important that you are seen. So when your windshield wipers are on, your headlights must be on. Not only is it the law, but it's for safety of everybody. So make sure that you put your headlights on when your windshield wipers are on. In addition, SDG&E was talking about, if the lights go out and if you have, a power outage, that maybe a signal light is not working. Keep in mind what that means. If there's no signal light, or if the light is flashing red, treat it like you would a stop sign. Okay, come to a complete stop, look both ways, and then you can proceed through the intersection when safe to do so. And lastly, I would tell you is that full concentration is needed on the road. So keep your head up, keep alert, and not on your cell phone, and do not text and drive. Thank you very much.
Next, we're going to have my fire chief, our fire chief, who's been through many meetings at this facility and as part of our wildfire preparation and response.
Great, thank you.
Chief Hennessy?
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank SDG&E for developing and providing the preparedness kits. No matter the type of weather being forecasted, we make good use of SDG&E weather station network and appreciate the work of their in-house meteorologists. Most of the time we're using the SDG&E weather station network in order to be better prepared for wildland fire. However, when weather forecasts are received that indicate significant precipitation and that could ultimately place the community at risk, this network of weather sensors is just as valuable. Just as we prepare year-round for wildland fire, San Diego City firefighters train with the Lifeguard Division and are ready to respond to flood and weather-related emergencies. We do this by identifying the location of areas that historically are impacted when the city experiences significant rain. We prepare for the rapid evacuation of the public in these areas, and also by knowing how to get our fire apparatus and our lifeguard vehicles around when normal access is blocked. Members of the Lifeguard's River Rescue Team were pre-positioned in the low-lying areas and patrolling the areas that normally present us with problems as soon as the rain started. Last Tuesday, between 3 o'clock and 6 o'clock, San Diego Fire Rescue responded to more than 200 calls for help. Between January 5th and January 9th, and as the mayor spoke, there were a total of 67 water rescues within the city of San Diego. That's significant. People who were caught in flooded streets or intersections or needed help getting out of their apartments or homes. There was one significant incident rescue that I'd like to share with you that demonstrates how our public safety teams work together during the height of the storm. After dark on Tuesday, 2 men were reported to be stuck in the middle and the widest areas of the San Diego River. Lifeguards and firefighters, including members of our technical rescue team, responded. 2 members of the Lifeguard River Rescue Team located the victims in dense brush in the middle of the main river channel. They were hypothermic and lethargic due to the length of time they'd been in chest deep in very cold water. Due to the darkness and dense brush, this rescue was extremely challenging. The San Diego Police Department helicopter Able arrived on scene and aided the rescuers in locating those victims. Later, the San Diego Fire Rescue Department helicopter Copter 2 arrived on scene and evaluated the lowering of their paramedic firefighter and hoisting the victims from water to safety. This was not possible due to the thick brush and lack of an acceptable location to insert the firefighter paramedic. The water was so deep and the vegetation so thick that another team of lifeguard rescuers entered the area but were unable to even locate the scene. Over the course of a grueling 2 hours, the 2 river rescue team members, with the assistance of Copter 2, were able to navigate their way back to safety. Both victims were transported by paramedics to the hospital and are expected to survive. As a result of their courage and perseverance during some of the most challenging and hazardous conditions a lifeguard can experience, both of these brave lifeguards will be nominated for the department's highest honor. I had an opportunity to talk with lifeguard Chuck Davies just on Friday by chance. This is a 30-year lifeguard, about a year from retirement. And when he shared with me how significant this was over all the years he's been involved in the lifeguard services, that really means something. As you can imagine, police officers, firefighters, and the lifeguard river rescue team were busy nonstop those first couple days. And we'll have more days like that. So residents and businesses need to be prepared. Know where you're going to go if you have to evacuate. And know at least a couple of different ways to get there in case roads are blocked. If you have a need for sandbags, have them on hand before the rain starts so you can place them where they're most needed. Every San Diego City Fire and Lifeguard station has a supply of sandbags. However, due to the high demand, we can only provide up to 10 sandbags per household or business. Most hardware and home improvement stores sell sandbags and may provide sand. We don't have sand at the fire stations. When it starts to rain, pay attention to local radio and television and the fire and police social media sites for flooding information. Now and before the next storms arrive is the time to be prepared. Take whatever action is necessary to be ready. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief Fennessy, and tip of the hat to the lifeguards. We tend to think of them as, the summer guys, but this is when they really have to do some work and are an important part of our response team. In closing, I want to encourage everybody who's here today, who's either watching or reading about this, to know your flood risk and prepare. Be prepared. The county and the city have made sandbags available at fire stations and other places. And you can get locations, they can be found on the El Niño webpage at readysandiego.org. So if you need sandbags, get them ahead of time. I need to share with you, I have them at my house and I used them, and because of a poor design that an architect did years ago, I have to make sure that I protect my driveway and my garage, and by having those, it made the difference between being flooded, as we have in the past, and being able to handle an amazing amount of water without any kind of problem. So be prepared. I'm trying to follow my own advice. And also register your mobile phone with the region's mass notification system, Alert San Diego. This is very, very important. Whether you live in a city or in an unincorporated area, if we need to reach you to ask you and to notify you that you should be considering evacuating, the only way we can reach your cell phone is if you are registered. We don't have those numbers in any other way. We can reach you in a very timely fashion if you will register at Alert San Diego. And it's also important to note that just because your property didn't flood in these rainstorms, you still need to prepare, no matter where you live, whether you're at the top of a hill or at the bottom of a canyon, you still need to prepare because a number of factors, including the slopes, the amount of rain we've got, how saturated the ground is, could make the next experience quite different. Later in the rainy season, the ground is going to become far more saturated with rain. We have measuring rain monitoring systems all over San Diego County, and we're looking for those areas that are getting a quarter inch in 15 minutes because we know at that flow we have some real concerns. And we're then, if those are in areas particularly that we think are vulnerable, we'll be in touch with those people who are registered, have registered their phones. So I can't stress that enough. Everyone needs to take action and be prepared. So if you've already experienced some damage, we've got a message for you too. We want you to visit SanDiegoCountyRecovery.com and complete a damage survey. This is important to us for a couple of reasons, because it also gives us the information that we need to pursue state and federal dollars that could be available depending on what has happened. In closing, know your flood risk, prepare your property with sandbags, erosion control messages. Take advantage of Alert San Diego. And, my appreciation to Carolyn, SDG&E, for these generators. They've been a great partner, along with all of the cities and all of the public agencies you see here today. We've got a good team. It takes a little common sense, though, and people in the public to help us avoid those danger signals that we keep telling you about, that the fire chief and the police chief and everybody else, and when you see yellow markers, that doesn't mean slow down. It means use good judgment and don't go through those what look like small puddles. Thank you for being here with us today.